Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Moose Talks with your host, Doug Craig, on Moose FM.
Welcome to the show. Today we're joined by two community members whose story you likely well know by now. Devin Gallant was diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy at 3 years old, and his family's been fighting to get treatment for Devin ever since. Some good news came on that front earlier this year, so we're going to talk a bit about that whole journey and all good things after that, hopefully. So to talk about that, we're joined today by Devin Gallant and his mom, Mandy. Devin, welcome to Moose Talks.
Hi.
And of course, Mandy, welcome to Moose Talks as well.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you both for being here today. I really appreciate it. I thought we'd start at the beginning, Mandy. We'll talk more with you in a minute, Devin. I don't think you can speak to your life as a baby quite yet, but I wanted to talk a bit about how Devin came to be diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy at 3 years old. What happened? What tipped you off that there was maybe a problem?
Okay, well, I was going to go right back from the beginning.
Sure.
So I went on bed rest with Devin when I was 7 months pregnant, just premature labor complications. So then I was on bed rest from 7 months until the day he was born. He ended up being 10 days overdue. 3 days after Devin was born, he ended up getting bronchial pneumonia. So we ended up being in the palliative care room for 7 days from day 3 till day 10. Then after that, we took him home. Everything was normal. And then about 6, 7 months old, it was just different. He didn't have much body strength. He wouldn't be able to sit up very much. He would be rolling around more so than trying to stand. So we kept going to the doctors, and the doctors, again, they don't worry about a child not walking until they're 22 months old.
Yeah.
That's what everybody kept telling us. So we started taking Devin to the doctor at about 10 months old, and it was just fine. He's going to develop. Give him time. And a lot of it was his sister, because his sister was very helpful. They'd be like, let Devin do things. Tell Alyssa to stop helping him so much. Then about 2 years old, they sent us to Grand Prairie finally to go see a pediatrician. And then the pediatrician, they were thinking there was nothing wrong, but then they wanted us to go to Edmonton just to go see the University of Alberta and go to the Glenrose Hospital. Well, then sure enough, we get there. They do a muscle biopsy is what it was called.
Okay.
And first they were thinking that it might have been muscle dystrophy, Duchenne's muscle dystrophy. And then we went to the doctor when he was about 2.5 years old in Edmonton, and within that 6 months of going through tests, he was diagnosed on his 3rd birthday with spinal muscular atrophy. So it was just a lot of weakness that we seen.
I see. Okay. Can you tell us a bit about what exactly spinal muscular atrophy is and sort of what it's doing and what it does?
So spinal muscular atrophy is a generic neuromuscular disorder. So it's 1 in every 40 people are carriers. So they call it a genetic common disorder. So it's like a common rare disorder, sorry.
I see.
It's common to be a carrier, so 1 in every 40 people are carriers. But then it's rare for 2 people to get together to make a baby.
I see.
So when both mom and dad, so both me and Eric are both carriers, we had the genetic testing done. And so it takes 1 in 40 people are carriers, and then if both mom and dad are carriers, there's a 1 in 4 chance.
I see.
So I can't remember the actual percentages for type 1 and type 2, but I know with Devin it was 25% are diagnosed with type 3. Type 3 is the less common. So type 1 is more common, type 2, and then the lucky ones are diagnosed with type 3.
I see.
So the difference of the diagnosis, so type 1, it usually affects the kids breathing and sucking right from the beginning, their medulla. Oh my God, I believe I'm saying that right. And so they're right away feeding tubes. And usually if you're type 1, they say your age limit, you don't live past the age of 2. And then type 2, you have, there is a shortened lifespan. They say more into the 18 to 25. And they usually don't walk. Usually back braced. Some have feeding tubes. Lots of problems. And then there's type 3. So Devin has no shortened lifespan. That's why we're blessed that he's type 3. The only thing that they say with type 3 is that he will lose the ability to walk come adolescence.
I see.
And that's what we did notice with Devin.
Okay. So I guess my question for you then, Devin, I mean, and sort of you maybe right at the beginning before you can remember things, is what was life like for you when you were a kid then? You kind of had, as I understand it, sort of reduced strength, essentially. Were you able to kind of play with your friends and sort of keep up, or was that a challenge for you when you were younger and sort of, playing with other kids in, say, sports or physical activity?
I don't really know if I even play with my friends that often.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough to sort of. Well, did you find it tough to say relate to them because you think of little kids and a lot of them are running around, for example, right? And you were a little bit more stationary in your activities.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you do instead then? Did you find maybe you liked television or video games or reading books or?
So when I was younger, I have a skateboard.
Okay.
And I would sit on it, and I have a mini stick, and I would push myself around and play hockey on my skateboard.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
I see. So you kind of slide yourself in front of the net and take shots or
Yeah.
what have you. Okay.
Kind
Very
of like
interesting.
a sledge skate, but on wheels.
Absolutely. So you made the best of kind of your situation. And as you kind of mentioned then, adolescence, you started to lose the ability to walk, as you say, right? How old were you when you started to notice that it was maybe getting harder for you then maybe even to do something like that, like be on your skateboard, as you say?
I'd say probably like around, I don't know, 11 or 12 or 13.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Grade 6, for sure, he started to notice, because what they say with spinal muscular atrophy, his muscles, they don't grow, they just stretch. So the way, like I was told, was it was like an elastic band. So this picture an elastic band, you just stretching it and stretching that elastic band until
Gotcha.
you can't stretch it no more, and then boom, the elastic band breaks. That's kind of how I was explained from some doctor, I don't know where, about how his muscles are going to work. So when he goes through adolescence, obviously they're growing, so his muscles are just expanding, and that's what we noticed in grade 6. I'm guessing they just expanded so much, and then it takes him months to catch up because he can't build muscles. He just has to maintain what muscles he has.
I see. I have to ask Devin, I mean, this might be a difficult question for you to answer, but, how did that make you feel that this was happening to you, that you had this? Did you find it a burden? Did you find it difficult to sort of express any frustrations you maybe had? Or were you just sort of, you found a way to sort of live with it and you were kind of happy-go-lucky in that way? What would you say?
I just found a way to live with it. I just found a way to do all my own stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so it didn't bother you that much, that this was just how it was for you. This was life as is.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Well, then let's talk about kind of early treatments then. Of course, we have the news from earlier this year that we'll get to in a few minutes. But what were you able to do to treat the situation kind of in the beginning? Was there anything, or is it just sort of you're living with it?
Well, that's exactly what it was. So we got the diagnosis of Devin having spinal muscular atrophy on his 3rd birthday.
Yeah.
Like literally on his 3rd birthday. And it was told, just go home and just do what you can. And every day hopefully he gets stronger. And they could never give us a time when he was going to lose his muscles. And they just said therapy is key. Therapy is key. Without therapy, he will not get stronger.
Okay.
So then once we had a diagnosis, we got set up with the CDC, the Child Development Center, and they were the reason why Devin started to walk.
I see.
So with the access of, he had amazing physiotherapists there who were awesome. And then we had the hydrotherapy pool, which Devin didn't start walking until he was 4 years old. So when he got the diagnosis, he wasn't walking. So they would go into the hydrotherapy pool. Like anybody knows, when you're in the water, you're less buoyant. So Devin can jump in the water. Devin can't jump on land. Devin can do lunges in the water. Devin can't do lunges on land. So he's so free in the water. So at a very young age, where he was moving his muscles every day in the water, eventually it gave him the strength. And then we did a lot of the kinesio tape, I believe is what it called. We used to tape Devin's legs. So by taping his legs, we got him to use other muscles. So we would block off essentially one muscle so he would use the other. So by doing that, that got all of his muscles activated.
I see.
And yeah, with lots of therapy and lots of intervention that way, sure enough, he started to walk, and he has a little walker. He's had a walker since he's been 4 years old. It's how he moves around the house.
I see. Okay. Talking about water, I mean, does that mean, are you able to swim? Is swimming and being in water something you like to do then? Because it does help you and you're able to do more things in it?
So before surgery, I was able to swim like perfectly fine.
Mhm.
But after surgery, since I can't like bend as much, it's hard to like swim and do that kind of stuff. But I used to be able to swim.
Oh, okay. Is that something that's you're expecting to come back, or is that sort of something that you knew would happen with this surgery? It'd be harder.
I think I can get back to swimming, but
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
It's kind of it could be part of the recovery process.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Well, we're going to skip ahead a bit to the treatments that came up, and I hope I say the word right. Risdiplam.
Risdiplam.
Oh, there it is. Risdiplam. Thank you very much.
You're
And then, of
welcome.
course, the back surgery that you ended up having that was delayed several times, but finally in January, I believe.
Yeah.
What was the process of finding out that there may be a treatment for Devin? How did you get tipped off that there was perhaps something you could finally do?
I'll never forget that. I'm going to cry.
Absolutely.
I came home with my neighbor.
Yeah.
She's a doctor. She's no longer a neighbor. I came home one day and she's like, Mandy, I just read an article and there's a treatment for spinal muscular atrophy. This was in 2016
Yeah.
that she told me this, and it was called Spinraza. But right away, we knew it was $1 million to get this treatment. That's what she told me. And the restrictions were type 3s. Type 3s are always eliminated for some
Yeah.
reason because they can walk. That's the thing with type 1, type 2, they don't walk. With type 3s, they do walk. Essentially, they just lose it after so long.
I see.
So type 3s are never included in the treatments because they can do what these other kids can't do. So yeah, she told me that, and then right away I phoned Dr. Jameson. He was my doctor at the time, and I'm like, hey, we need to get Devin on this, try to get this treatment. Denied because of his type 3.
I see.
So
if he had been type 2 or type 1, that wouldn't have been a hurdle. They would have worked out a way to do it basically right away.
100%.
Wow.
100%.
Was it experimental, this stuff in any way? Was that a risk that, you don't know how this is going to happen? Or at the time you found out about it when your neighbor said it, was it, no, this has worked for many people that have it?
Yeah, when she told me, so it was already going through testing. So like they tested it on mice and stuff like that. So it was already
Absolutely.
gone through the testing. So it was already FDA approved by the time they announced it in 2016.
I see.
So it was already all tested, and they were going through human trials.
Okay.
No different than Risdiplam. I think Risdiplam was 2019 when they announced that approval. And again, there's still trials going on,
I see.
right? I think the
Okay.
trials are actually just finishing up.
I see. Okay. So that one's the newer, more kind of experimental one, but the surgery was already kind of established. I see.
Well, the surgery, what happened? Devin had a bad accident. December 18th, 2019. It was the last day of school before Christmas holidays, and Devin was cleaning out his locker, and he took his jacket off in his wheelchair, but he didn't turn the wheelchair off. He thought it was off.
Yeah.
And by him taking his jacket off, he moved the lever of his wheelchair, which caused his wheelchair to run over his right leg.
Oh no.
Run over his right leg, and Devin fractured his tibia.
Oh.
So in February 2019, we had a full x-ray done of his back in BC Children's Hospital. It showed a slight curve starting then. But then Devin had an accident, December 2019. Devin didn't get out of his bed for 12 weeks. So like if anything with atrophy, if you keep moving, you're going to keep those muscles activated. But as soon as you stop moving, boom, that's when atrophy kicks in.
Yeah.
So Devin went 100% backwards because of that accident.
Yeah.
And that's where his back just started curving so fast that even the doctors couldn't keep up with how fast, because his muscles were just wasting away, because he wasn't working to keep these muscles going. So all the muscles in his core died.
Yeah.
The skateboard, like he said earlier, that was really good core muscle. So if you were just to sit with your legs straight and try to move, like you can feel your core. And Devin had a very strong core, but not being able to use that skateboard and exercise went backwards. So the doctors just couldn't keep up with how fast his back was curving.
Okay.
And then they told us August 21, they told us September 2020 that surgery was coming. that his curve was, after the accident, they noticed that his curve was starting to go. So they said there's going to be surgery within the next year and a half. So they put us on the surgery wait list, and then that was September 2020. And then his next appointment was in August 20, like he goes yearly. And then his next appointment was August 21. And that's when they said he needs emergency surgery because the curve has gotten so bad. And then that's when they said, we're going to get you guys called right away soon. And then they called November 2nd and said surgery is December 2nd. And that's when the whole journey started.
Then some delays. But
and then everybody knows everything.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to talk more about that journey. We do need to take a quick break, but more on that and the surgery and the sort of treatment and how it's maybe helped you since then. More on all that coming up on Moose Talks right after this. Hey, welcome back to the program. Today we're talking with Devin and Mandy Gallant all about their journey. Devin, of course, diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy when he was 3 years old. Lots happened since then. We were talking right before the break a bit about the back surgery and finding out that there was this surgery and treatment that you could get and could improve your life. I just wondered, Devin, when you heard that for the first time, I guess this would be back in 2016, which is 6 years ago now when you think about it. How did that feel at the time? Were you excited by it, or was it like, awesome if it happens?
I was happy that it was going to happen, but I was nervous about it.
Yeah, like you were nervous, like afraid that there was a risk that you could be hurt by it, or it could make things worse. Or?
Well, they said after my surgery I wouldn't be able to walk, and I didn't want that to happen.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
That's what they told us. They said that the most likely after surgery, because Devin it'll be hard for him to get up and going, that he probably would lose his mobility. So that was the hardest thing to take.
Yeah, because you had some, though this could improve your mobility eventually, I assume, is the sort of the point of it, right? But you'd have to lose it for a while to kind of start with. I imagine that I can understand why that would make you so nervous.
Yeah.
It's like, I have it already. I don't want to lose it to perhaps get more. So.
Yeah.
Well, we talked right before the break about getting the surgery and what sort of had to happen for them to finally allow you to do it. We fast forward now to December when they first made the date for you to go have it in Vancouver, as I understand, right? What happened then? They kept sort of delaying it and canceling it for a number of reasons.
So it was crazy. So we left November 28th. The highways were closed. That was at all the mudslides.
Flooding and stuff, yeah.
So we actually, there was talk they were going to open up Highway 99. So we went, and that's the Sea to Sky Highway.
Yeah.
So we went right to the Sea to Sky Highway. We were sitting out there with like 50 cars waiting for it to open. Then they opened it and we went through. That was all great. So we get to Ronald McDonald House, and then we're all ready for surgery. Did all the surgery prep because we had to do 3 days of prepping for the surgery.
Yeah. And
then we get there. Devin's dressed in his hospital gown.
No way.
Oh yeah, he's got even the numbing cream on his hands for his IV and everything. And
like it's literally about to happen.
Yeah, like he was getting wheeled out. Like I have goosebumps just talking about it. Like it was crazy. And then the surgeon comes in and he's like, I don't know how to tell you this, but surgery is not going to happen. I'm not going to lie. I may have dropped an F-bomb.
Sure.
Ran out of the hospital room because I didn't know what to say. What? And then, he said that the ICU room was too full. So there was no bed available for Devin. So then they're like, we have to cancel it and we will postpone it till the following week because we are 14 hours away from our hometown, right?
Yeah.
So then they moved it to December 10th. Okay, so then we had the whole week in Vancouver just trying to not lose our mind, plus our dog passed away while we were in Vancouver. Then December 10th came, same thing, got to the hospital, Devin got dressed in the gown, ready to go. This time no numbing cream on his hand. They came in before they did that, and they told us another cancellation.
So at least slightly more notice.
Little bit slightly. Didn't have the numbing hand for a few hours. Wow. So then they said, okay, your surgery won't happen now until January. So then I broke down crying to the surgeon. I'm like, you told us that Devin couldn't go into the winter without having surgery because his curve was going to go into his organs, his heart, everything, because of how bad it was. And then they reassured us that we had till January. So then it was January 10th. Then I get a phone call December 21st telling me that surgery's not going to happen January 10th. Surgery's now going to happen the end of the month. Then I get another phone call saying there's no surgery at the end of the month. that we don't know when it's going to happen. It may happen in February, but we'll let you know as soon as we get the schedule.
Boy.
And that's when I emailed every contact I have for the BC Children's Hospital, and I said, listen, I'm not going to watch my kid die. You guys need to do something, so somebody needs to do something. And then the next day, they were told that we were going into the Sunny Hill program for Devin to do intensive therapy, hoping to roll into surgery. That's when I called Global News and was like, something needs to be done, because I wasn't going to watch my kid die.
Yeah.
His curve was getting worse. Like from when we got sent home in December, so we got home December 13th from Vancouver after being gone for 2 weeks. From then to when we went January 20th, his curve even got worse from that 30 days at home.
Wow.
Yeah, like it was, when I say emergency life-saving surgery, it was legit emergency life-saving surgery.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I'll say it, if he didn't have surgery, I don't know where he would be today.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of pain he would be in.
But it finally happened.
It finally happened, yeah. The doctor came into the office on the Wednesday at Sunny Hill, and she's like sat down, she has her whole team with her, and she's like, Devin's getting surgery tomorrow. And I'm like, again? I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, he's getting surgery. And he's approved for treatment. And it was like, I fell to the ground on my knees, bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
It was the best day.
I imagine. I mean, Devin, I have to ask you again, how did you feel after it being delayed, and you were being wheeled in? You're ready for this, and they delayed, and then they delayed again, same situation. It's finally going to happen. You must have been, ecstatic.
I was shocked that it was happening that week.
You kind of lost hope that it was going to happen,
Yeah.
kind of for any time in this foreseeable future, eh?
Because I was only going there to Sunny Hill for intense therapy. And then I only got to do it for 2 days. And then they came in and told me surgery's in a week.
Well, I mean,
Friday.
Yeah, so 4 or 5 days.
yeah. And then the surgery happens. You're on risdiplam. Did I say it right?
No, he wasn't on it yet.
Oh, okay,
No.
not quite yet.
Not quite
but,
yet.
But since then, you've been on it. I mean, how have you seen, what improvement, if any, have you kind of seen since then? How are you feeling since you've had this surgery and now the treatment, that's has started or is upcoming?
So the third day when I was on treatment, I stood up and I felt way more stable in my legs, where they felt stronger. And then probably like 2 weeks after, I had a growing pain in my leg, and it was a different pain than normal. So I thought that was like my muscles were already growing from it.
Wow. Was it less intense or more intense? Would you describe the pain, or?
It was more intense because it lasted for like probably one day.
Okay. Wow. So
Yeah.
and because you figured it was a growing pain, it must have been like, this hurts, but thank God it's happening.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you feel like things are happening, things are getting better. As you said, you stood up. You've been able to stand up kind of since then, I suppose.
Yeah. I stood up 7 days after surgery.
Wow. Well, did they expect that to happen, or you just blew them out of the water with the expectations of that one, eh?
Yeah. They didn't expect me to stand up that quick.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So we're already seeing some marked improvements in things. What's next in the process then? I know you guys have been going back kind of, as I understand, for assessments kind of once a month or every 2 weeks to Vancouver. Is that just going to kind of keep happening then for the foreseeable future?
Well, with on risdiplam, because of the price of the drug and where he is, it's not special access anymore, but we have to go every 3 months.
I see.
So every 3 months, Devin does like a Hammersmith test. He does like a 6-minute walk test where they see how many meters he can walk in that 6 minutes. He lifts certain things to see how fast he can do it and what he can't do. And they've been doing that same test on Devin for the last 3 years.
I see.
So they have a really good foundation to see where his improvements are going to start with the drug, right? And we're
Okay.
on 65 days of being on treatment now.
I see. And I think I read in one of the stories we wrote about this, assuming they keep the treatment going, because obviously they must be looking for improvement each time to justify it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Is this a treatment that you'd be on the rest of your life that would sort of help you out kind of, forever?
Yep, it's a rest of your life drug. Every day he takes 6.6 mils of risdiplam at the same time every day for the rest of his life.
And it's strengthening your muscles. It's helping them to grow. Is that sort of the point of it?
Yeah, so with Devin, he's missing, so we all have a SMN1 and a SMN2. So Devin's missing chromosome 5.
Yeah.
And in that, there's an SMN1 gene and an SMN2 gene. So Devin's missing his SMN1 gene. That's
I
canceled
see.
out. So if you don't have an SMN1 gene, it's spinal muscular atrophy. That's what it is. And depending on the severity is your SMN2 gene. So you can have 0 to 5 copies. Devin has 3, so that makes him have more copies, a little more than average, so that's good.
I see. Okay. So then the next appointment should be coming up, or you guys just had one in Vancouver?
No, it comes up in July.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
So that risdiplam is making that SMN1 gene.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, that's what the medicine is replacing that gene that he can't make.
I
And
see.
then we go in July, and that's to do like an x-ray to see how his back looks. That's to see his neurologist, to go over the Hammersmith test that I just talked, and probably to see his Sunny Hill team to see where his improvements are with his physiotherapist and stuff.
I see.
He's got a big team in Vancouver, a lot of people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think things are looking up. Are you feeling hopeful, Devin, would you say?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
That's
he's getting
good.
back to full days of school. We're getting there. So he has physio 2 days a week, and he
Mm-hmm.
has swimming 2 days a week plus school. So he's in grade 9 French immersion. We're getting there.
You're busy.
Yeah, Burpos has been amazing. Big shout out to them. They have made this whole journey easy for
Awesome.
him. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, I'm really appreciative that both of you took some time
Thank
to
you.
come down here. We've been trying to wrangle this for a while. It's,
Yep.
everyone's schedule's busy. I'm glad it finally worked out. And
Me
I look
too.
forward to getting updates from you guys as this journey continues. Thank you so much for being here, both of you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. That's Devin and Mandy Gallant here to talk about their journey with Devin's spinal muscular atrophy and the treatment he's now receiving for it.